Welcome to Retire Right with Rick Durkee, presented exclusively by the Coastal Financial Planning Group here on News Radio 94.3 WSC. Rick Durkee is the retirement income planning and wealth distribution specialist in the Lowcountry. Are you ready to retire right? Here's your host this morning, Shane Griffin.
Good morning. Welcome in for another edition of Retire Right with Rick Durkee. I am your host, Shane Griffin. Each and every Saturday morning here at 9 o'clock, I have the privilege of sitting down with our local retirement, income planning, and wealth distribution specialist, Rick Durkee, to help you to retire right. Good morning, Rick Durkee.
Hey, good morning, Shane.
How are you, sir?
I'm feeling pretty spry this morning.
That's good.
For another Saturday
At your age,
morning.
It's very tough, right?
Oh, stop it. Hey, I'm not turning 57 until June. And
Until June.
I'm still 56. That
That's
is
right.
on the downside to 60, but hey, I'm on the tail end of the boomers, and I'm going to always act my age, which is like 35.
What's interesting is that for many of you that don't know, Rick plays hockey at his age, and you play in a 50 and over group, and I tell you, I'm 42, and there's no way I could do what you do and get out there and skate and play hockey.
It's fun. I do play in the 35 and older league too, because, like I said, I got to act my perceived age sometimes just to stay young. But it's fun. It's fun, and it's always good to keep physically fit,
Absolutely.
right, as we go into and throughout retirement years.
Well, we talked last week that you could live 35 to 40 years after you retire. I'm pretty sure there's a statistic somewhere that says a married couple that makes it to 65, one of them has a 50% chance of making it to 90, I believe the number is, right?
Actually, it's increased, Shane.
Has it really?
Yeah.
My goodness.
There's a 25% chance that one of them will make it to 98.
Wow.
I think that's the number.
How do you plan for longevity?
The 50-50 is 92. 50% chance that one of you will make it is 92.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So here it is again. Here's the good thing is we're living longer. The bad thing is we're living longer. So it increases all the risks of everything else maybe happening to us in our longer lifetimes.
Incredible. Well, the topic this morning, a very interesting one. It's kind of a unique angle for smarter retirement planning. Learn from lottery winners who opt for lifetime income over a lump sum. Before we get to the topic, though, a couple of reminders. First of all, you can check the website for the calendar of events, cfpgroup.biz, cfpgroup.biz. Rick, you've got a retirement roundtable that you had at Ruth's Chris a couple of weeks ago. That went pretty well, evidently.
It did, Shane. We had this event for the first time, and it was an invitation-only event. It was I think we had 7 couples, 14 people for our dinner, and then on the lunch the next day we had 6 couples. And all we did was I was the moderator. Mm-hmm. We sat down and we had a format where we talked about taxes, we talked about income planning, we talked about distribution needs, and then we talked about risk.
Okay.
So, does that sound familiar?
3-step review, it sounds like to me. Exclusive 3-step review.
But what we did was we were the moderator. We brought up the topics, and then we shared a few facts, and then we let it go.
How about that?
And then we let people just talk around that round table, peers, retirees, talking themselves together and learning from one another.
Interesting format.
What type of situations they have come across in retirement,
right?
And what type of situations they're concerned about possibly coming across later in retirement. And then others who had experienced those problems helped share what they did to deal with it. So it was a very interesting format.
And you've got more of those coming up throughout the course of the year.
We'll do another set or two of those. Folks, here's the way you can always be up to date on what's going on with the Coastal Financial Planning Group and our educational opportunities. Visit the website, cfpgroup.biz. Take the retirement quiz, okay? Answer a few questions. Get an indication as to what type of information you may want to pursue learning.
Right.
Send us an email. Send me an email, rick@cfpgroup.biz. Request to be on our weekly market update. Get market updates every week.
I get that. It's really good stuff.
Get market updates every week. Each week in that weekly market update, it will have upcoming events too. So you'll be in touch. You'll be in tune. And oftentimes radio listeners miss a week or two.
Sure.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
if you miss a week or two, as Shane said before,
yep, visit the podcast page, 943WSC.com, and search Retire Right with Rick Durkee. All the programs, past programs, are there, labeled correctly. So if you hear something you want to hear again, missed a program, caught half of it, they're all right there. You can also visit Rick's website, cfpgroup.biz. The programs are there as well. And if you'd like a transcript, if you want to read the program, you can do that as well. Just call the office, 843-735-5065, or send an email, and Rick will send out a transcript.
All right, there's our commercial. We have to get it out every week, folks. It's not hard sell. It's just get more information if you want it.
Let's jump to the topic then on that note. Remember that record-breaking lottery jackpot of $1.6 billion back in January, Rick? Well, 3 winners ended up splitting $528 million. For you listening this morning, what would you do if you won the lottery? Would you take the lump sum or opt for the income for life? Well, Stephen Gardner, author of the book A Bridge Over Troubled Wall Street, recently wrote for the Daily News that while on the surface it appears you should take the lump sum, have someone manage it for you, and live happily ever after, the problem is people tend to squander a lump sum of money faster than they should, whether it is lottery winnings, their nest egg, or a 401k. Rick, your thoughts?
Well, Shane, my thoughts first were, I don't know how many other listeners out there, when Shane said $528 million, did you hear that cash register go ching?
$1.6 billion total. Wow.
That's what I heard.
Incredible.
Anyway, but the question that you ask here is, should people...
It's basically lump sum or lifetime income.
Should they view this as their nest egg and use it and hold it and coddle it and then take pieces out of it as they feel they need, or should you set up some type of an income plan with it? I think if there was an option to blend those two, I think it'd be a really good option. And I think income allocation, which has been taught through the book Income Allocation by David Gaylor, is an excellent source for our listeners to request today.
Sure.
Call us at 735-5065, and it would teach you how you take your lump sum, your retirement dollars, your 401k, or if you're a lucky lottery winner, certainly can take that too. But take it and split it up. Split it into 2 parts. Split it into a part that creates guaranteed income for you, that fills the income gaps that are necessary, and then take the rest of it and put it into some type of a managed risk program that will help it to grow, but more importantly, have it there for future income if needed to supplement, or perhaps some unplanned or unforeseen financial circumstances that may come along, such as healthcare or something like that in the future. Or also take a portion of it and plan for how you can gift that then by legacy. So that's what people need to do if this opportunity comes along to them where perhaps they have a lump sum option in their pension. I will say this, Shane, many people that come in to see us, those lump sum pension options versus the income options are hard to beat in the marketplace because it's a group annuity, and the insurance company that's provided that pension option has a very good payout. So, but that's an all or none decision. You take the lump sum or you take the annuity payment. You can't blend it, You take the annuity payment. So each individual situation needs to be looked at as to what people want and need to do with that money throughout their retirement years. So, in the case of your lottery example, Shane, we'll just share this statistic. The average lottery winner that receives a lump sum ends up broke in 3 to 4 years. Wow. So what does that teach us? Why?
Lump sum is not a good idea.
Well, maybe they're just not good money managers, or they don't make a plan.
Right. And there's lots of variables in that. Sure.
Yeah, or they have a bunch of friends and relatives that all of a sudden come out of the woodwork.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, you got an extra $10,000. Whereas those ones that choose the income have money coming in every single year or monthly or whatever, for typically 30 years of retirement, have a stress-free retirement.
Right.
You look at those folks that are 90, 93, 95 that have gone through their retirement years, part of that greatest generation, the ones that had a pension, the ones that had Social Security, had enough income through their income years of retirement that they still saved.
Mm-hmm.
They were stress-free.
That's
They had
right.
a stress-free retirement
Yep.
because they lived within their means. They had a guaranteed source of income coming into them. I would say Social Security, again, not being guaranteed, but for that generation, it certainly came through as promised, and taxed less than it is today. But they had a plan. They had surety. They had safety. They had a stress-free retirement.
And just because you retire doesn't mean you have to stop saving.
Right.
You can continue to save. There's no rule that says, okay, you're retired, stop saving.
The folks with the pensions today are saving. They're saving properly so that they can be good stewards for the money if they need it and also pass it on in the most efficient ways possible. So here's the question that I want to ask to our listeners. Would you rather have a large nest egg that you could siphon money from or a lifetime stream of income that you can't outlive and have that stress-free? It's smart planning.
Absolutely. Well, the article I found was on NewYorkDailyNews.com, NYDailyNews.com, and in that article, Mr. Gardner says, quote, found that the older a client is, the more they wish they had planned for monthly income, end quote. The number one fear of retirees and pre-retirees is that they'll outlive their nest egg. Instead of having this fear, Rick, doesn't it make sense to have money in programs that can grow and kick off predictable income, let's call it?
Well, Shane, there's a statistic put out by AARP, which they predict that more than 40% of today's boomers will have to go back to work again because they
40%? Wow.
Because they probably didn't save properly and they probably didn't have a proper withdrawal plan for their income, and they probably didn't go through a risk analysis and make sure that they've de-risked. But in this article, as you say here, using a portion of your nest egg for guaranteed income opportunities that are available to retirees, and let's go through a list of what fixed income products could be. You've got bonds. Bonds create fixed income. You've got real estate investment trusts that create fixed income.
Yep.
You've got interest on bank products that create fixed income.
Not a lot, but
not a lot. Not a lot. You've got treasury bonds if you want to go the safe route. Okay. You've got insurance company fixed or fixed indexed annuities, which are deferred annuities, which can create a predictable stream of income that actually, if you structure them properly, can also increase that income over your retirement years. So there's a lot of different tools that people can use to implement into that plan.
Right.
You also need to think about a topic that we haven't talked about for, I think, quite a few years, my bucket system. Okay?
Yeah, we have not covered the bucket system in a while.
The bucket system. And the bucket system has evolved into two different types of bucket planning. One is for risk, and the other is for income. We'll talk about the risk one first. You should determine what type of risk, if you take 100% of your assets and divide them into three pools by percentage, what percentage would you want absolutely safe and secure? You could not lose money.
Right.
What percentage would you want low to moderate? What percentage would you want moderate to high risk? And make sure that your assets are positioned properly in those different risk categories, those three buckets. Understand that it's not a set in stone plan. You can adjust things in and out of those different risk buckets as markets warrant and income needs warrant, and that allows me to segue into the second set of three buckets that we've developed over the years. They're income planning buckets, Shane. And this goes way back to the discussions we had 8-9 years ago about sources of your money in retirement. Bucket number one is your everyday money. It's money that comes to you in the forms of some kind of guaranteed or promised pension, Social Security, self-directed pension or annuity payments that you've set up yourself. Those are your income streams that come to you every day. In that bucket, there's not a spigot. You can't turn it off, turn it on.
Right.
Bucket number two is for later money, okay? Later money or rainy day money.
Right.
Okay, that's money that you're earmarking for use in a future purpose and plan. It is your tax-deferred items. It's your IRAs. Most people that have the wherewithal and are happy with their everyday money and it's meeting their needs continue to defer those products like IRAs, those plans, those retirement plan dollars until they reach 70 and a half. So it's later money that's used in that bucket. You can also set up assets that have already been taxed into the later bucket by placing them in tax-deferred products like annuities.
Right.
You could put them in stocks if you know that you're not going to use them in your lifetime. They would get a step-up basis at your death. So that would be a way of getting some tax-free growth. But there's different ways that you can get some of your assets into that second bucket for later use. Latest use might be that stock example that I just gave, stock that you don't want to sell in your lifetime. Latest use might be some legacy planning, using life insurance tools. Latest use might be Roth dollars that were either contributed into Roth IRAs during your accumulation years or converted from IRAs to Roth. Those last two buckets, Shane, the later money and the latest money, or the rainy day money and perhaps the never used money, bucket number 2 and bucket number 3, both have spigots on them, so you can turn them off and turn them on, and that will regulate what your taxes are on this income. So a lot of planning, a lot of income allocation when it comes to tax planning, income planning, risk planning. We just talked about ways to look at income planning with 3 buckets and also risk planning with 3 buckets. I encourage people, I did just on your last question, but Shane, I think I got sidetracked and I didn't give out our phone number to request the book, Income Allocation. It will cover these topics. Income Allocation by David Gaylor, 735-5065. Folks, you can't get that book on Amazon.com. It's available to our radio listeners and also any other of the people that visit us on our website.
And it's a quick read, an easy read. I've read that book twice and really gives you a lot of good ideas, a lot of good information. So again, if you'd like the book Income Allocation by David Gaylor, 843-735-5065. We will give that book out to the first 5 callers here this morning. 843-735-5065, the number to call. We are discussing an article I found at nydailynews.com for smarter retirement planning. Learn from lottery winners who opt for lifetime income over a lump sum. Well, Rick, we've talked before about flipping the switch from building our nest egg to distributing the nest egg to ourselves and our heirs. Problem is, most people have never done that before. We spend 20, 30, sometimes 40 years accumulating wealth, but really have no plan on how to distribute that wealth to ourselves. That's where an income planning and wealth distribution specialist like yourself comes into play, right?
Well, Shane, thank you for that point there. We do specialize in working with retirement-minded individuals that have accumulated their wealth and now are looking for a process to follow to learn and discover how to reposition those assets for income needs, for deferral needs, and then also for estate planning needs. And when we look at why we do what we do, it's because we feel that our retirees today, when they went through college, they were educated on how to build their skills and how to become desirable for the employer workforce, correct? How to get into jobs in specialty fields, learn through process how to complete the tasks for those jobs and follow those processes all the way through until retirement. Our most successful retirees today had a process that they followed, and they accumulated their wealth along the way through a process also of accumulation. Now, unfortunately, in college or since then, we haven't been trained, we haven't been taught at how to look at the process of retirement, how to put together these pieces of a plan that address all of the concerns that you have of what you anticipate you may have as far as any of retirement's roadblocks financially, okay, and what your concerns are. So when people come in to sit down with us for the 3-step review, one of the first things I'll talk about is tell me about your process. Tell me about what you learned and how you did what you did during your accumulation years. And then I'll ask, now, what's your process for going into and throughout retirement? And you get a lot of deer in the headlights look because we haven't been trained.
We've never done it before.
Yeah, this is why we feel at the Coastal Financial Planning Group it's so important for us to teach and help people learn that they have to have this process put in place and how to go about doing that. So we teach through that process of discovery, the 3-step review. We teach through our college courses at the College of Charleston called Rejuvenate Your Retirement.
Right.
We teach in these radio programs. We teach at our workshops and seminars. And also, I will share this with our listener today that is looking for a source of retirement planning advice. We also offer ongoing workshops for our clients because you can get this stuff and you can develop the plan, but if you don't continually learn about how it's going to be implemented and use these strategies throughout your retirement life cycle, then you'll forget about them.
Absolutely.
And then you might fall into some old habits that may not accomplish the goals that you want. So we offer different educational programs. A couple of weeks ago, we had an income planning workshop for our current clients.
Okay.
So they have their income plans already, but I wanted to reemphasize how those were important. And then there were some clients that said, you said we needed to do that, but we never got around to it. So I want to come to that workshop.
Right.
I want to get the ball rolling here again. I want to get my little fact sheet and figure out how to start this retirement income plan and follow it so that I reach my goals and my accomplishments.
Right. Absolutely. Well, Rick, a good takeaway from today from this article, quote, "Don't be like the lottery winners that blow through their money quickly or the large percentage of Americans that will be forced back to work. Instead, purposely plan for income and let the checks roll in," end quote. That from the author of the article, Mr. Stephen Gardner. Your closing thoughts. We have about 2.5 minutes in the program.
Everyone listening that is coming up on their retirement date, Shane, has a pool of money, their lottery, their retirement income planning dollars that have been set aside during your accumulation years. And now what it's going to take is a combination plan of how many of those assets should be used to supplement your streams of income that are already on the way to you. And then secondly, the second part of that plan should look at assets that we earmark for later or latest in retirement and let those continue to grow. De-risk them, folks. You don't have to hit the cover off the ball anymore. You don't have to hit those high rates of returns that you were trying to get in your accumulation years. You just have to get slow, steady growth and miss a majority of the downside on those investments. That is going to be the key to a successful retirement. So certainly making sure that those play checks now in retirement come from your employer, and your employer is your money. Okay,
Absolutely.
That's what's going to create the income you need, and it's no longer a paycheck coming from that employer. Your assets, it's going to be a play check if you do a proper retirement plan. So certainly. Call us today if you'd like to sit down for a 3-step review, 735-5065. And Shane, thanks for your time today.
Absolutely.
I look forward to next week and our next topic that we'll be talking about. What you got up on the pipeline?
Not going to tell you.
Not going to tell me.
It's always a surprise.
Okay.
We like to keep it a surprise and come up with some really good information, but I can guarantee you it'll be something that our listener at home this morning that is retirement-minded can really kind of latch onto and gain some really good, solid information. If you've missed the program, you want to go back and listen to past programs, a reminder to visit the podcast page at 943wsc.com. Just punch in keyword podcast, and you'll go to the podcast page. All the shows are there labeled. You can also check Rick's site, cfpgroup.biz, for podcasts, and see the calendar of events. Lots of information for you to get there at cfpgroup.biz, cfpgroup.biz. One more reminder about the giveaway this morning. If you'd like the book Income Allocation by David Gaylor, be one of the first 5 callers this morning at 843-735-5065, and Rick will send that out to you. It's a fantastic book, an easy read, and something that you cannot get on Amazon. So 843-735-5065. Be one of the first 5 callers this morning to get that book. Rick, great to see you. We'll see you back here next week with a new topic that I won't tell you about.
I can't believe you won't tell us. He knows. He knows. All right. Thanks for listening this morning, folks, and we'll see you again next Saturday morning at 94.3 WSC and 94.3WSC.com.